Hey, everybody. I hope and pray that you're doing well. Today, as we come to our word from the Word. And today, that word is crying. Crying. Now, on to Jeremiah chapter 11 today. I mentioned yesterday that, the prophet had already been told not to pray for things to change because the circumstances weren't. And so, yesterday, he was praying for himself to change. But here today, you're going to see that the Lord is talking about a group of people here that continue to do evil in his sight. And so then his command is maybe not what you would expect when you hear it here today. Jeremiah chapter 11, verses 14 through 16 today. So do not pray for this people, or lift up a cry or prayer for them, for I will not hear them in the time that they cry out to me because of their trouble. What is my beloved to do in my house? Having done lewd deeds with many, and the holy flesh has passed from you. When you do evil, then you rejoice. The Lord called your name, green olive tree, lovely and of good fruit. With the noise of a great tumult, he has kindled fire on it, and its branches are broken. Now, even just to stop and think about that, he said, "Look, there's no need for you even crying for this people that are going to receive the end of my wrath." Now, as you go through this, and as always, I encourage you to read all these chapters so you can see the whole picture together as we're just looking at parts. Notice that he has said throughout the Bible, that there were covenant blessings and covenant curses, right? That if they would choose God, then he would continue to bless them. But if they curse God, then they were going to have to face the curses of God. They were going to have to face punishment. Now, again, there are things that were, unconditional parts of the covenant, and there were conditional parts. These are the conditional parts he's speaking of here. And he even says basically, look, Jeremiah, there's no need for you to cry. Jeremiah is known as the weeping prophet. He says, there's no need for you to cry out. There's no need for you to pray for these people because it's already settled. And then he kind of gives the example. He said, can you imagine, like from God's point of view, that they go and they do what they want to do, and then they want to come into my house and then act like everything's okay and act like they haven't done anything wrong. He says, no, don't pray for those people. I don't know about you, but I can't help even just hearing that, thinking about how often we do the same thing during the week. Here it is, Monday through Saturday, we live like the world, and then we think for maybe an hour and a half on Sunday that, okay, well, I'll be holy right then, and that's my good's going to outweigh my bad. I mean, that's almost the way that we begin to look at it. And what the world thinks is ridiculous, and the reason that so many don't even try, I hate to say it that way, but the reason they won't even try out Jesus, reason they won't even come to church to even give it a try, to even begin to listen, is because they see churches of people living like the world the rest of the week. And then all of a sudden on Sunday morning, they're holier than thou. It doesn't make sense to them. It shouldn't make sense to us. And what God is saying, it certainly doesn't make sense to him. He said, these are the people you're going to pray for. This is who you're going to almost waste time praying for. Those people who will just continue to do evil in my face. The chosen nation will continue to do these evil deeds. He says, with many times they were seen, Israel is seen as the harlot. They were seen as the prostitute that was going out prostituting themselves to other nations, to other gods, to other idols. And one thing he has spoken about, I believe it was earlier yesterday, in that passage, in that chapter 10, I believe it is there, he was talking about the fact that the idols were made by men's hands. And they were put together. Man, the artisans, they're great. But at the end of the day, the idols still have no use. They're of no good. They can help no one. But yet over and over again, the people considered them their gods. And now all of a sudden, trouble comes and they want to turn to God. God says, don't pray for them. Don't cry out for them. Don't waste a tear on them. see a lot of the similarities of things going on in our world today. You think about every time that we have these, sadly, have these mass shootings in schools. And I mean, terrible, despicable things. Then all of a sudden, our nation wants to get upset. Well, where was God? Well, man, what has everybody done so much to try to get God out of school? And now you want to get upset because he wasn't there to help in a time of need. And that's just, kind of just one-off example. But how many times in our nation's history, in our culture, how many times do we get upset with God and decide to be holy when things are going wrong? But when everything seems to be going well, it's because we did it all on our own and God had nothing to do with it. No wonder God told Jeremiah not to waste a tear on them. But I would have to stop and think today, I wonder how many people we may be crying for today that God is already looking and saying, these people will never change. These people will never get away from their evil deeds. Today, continue to pray. But also know that there is coming a day, there's a point in time when all things will be settled. All things will be final. I think that's one of the reasons that we hear and we know that in that day, he will wipe away every tear. Because then we will see things as he does. We'll see it either holy or sinful. That's the way God sees it. There is no gray area. There is no in between. Today, I think ultimately, it's a lot for us to think about. I wonder if somebody prayed for us. And I wonder who we'd be praying for today. God bless you. And I pray you have a great, great day.